Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, brothers and sisters. Today, let's talk about naming your child. This is a question that many people are actually confused about. So let's look at what the Quran and the Sunnah has to say about this particular issue. Our Prophet ﷺ said that the best names you can give your child is Abdullah and Abdul Rahman. So the slave of Allah and the slave of Ar-Rahman. With respect to daughters, you can name your daughters any name that has a good Hasan meaning to it or a righteous meaning to it. So that's important because you'll find that there's some people out there that call themselves really different things. So somebody would call himself like the name of the month. Another person will choose one letter of the Arabic alphabet and call themselves that. These names are not haram, but they don't actually have any sound meaning attached to them. And that's important because even Arabs say that your name paints an image of who you are. So your character and your personality usually reflects your name. So that's important. But the most important quality that you need to consider when naming your child is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will address them on the Day of Judgment. Now this is a large topic. So a lot of things sprout out of this issue of naming your child. So an example of this is, what if you had like a non-Muslim name and you want to convert it? Is it wajib on you to convert that name to a Muslim name? As a matter of fact, it's not wajib, but it's highly recommended. You should do that. The reason why, again, it's your title. It's the thing that people know you by and they call you by this. And it's also the thing that's going to be addressed to you on the Day of Judgment. So you want to change that name to a name that's righteous, as opposed to somebody who has a name that really has no meaning to it. So if you name yourself like Alif or Yas or Taha or something like that, what do these names entail? Again, these are not haram names, but they don't really have any meanings. Nobody knows what the disjointed letters in the Quran are talking about. We know that there is a meaning, which is why the permissibility of having these kinds of names are still there, because there is a meaning. We just don't know what it is. So nobody can tell you it's haram, but again, you can certainly consider choosing a name that has meaning attached to it, that's a righteous meaning. Let's look at other names, like the names of the month, or something. Like some people will call themselves Ramadan or Dhul Hijjah or something like that. So what are these names entail? Again, these names are good. They represent good things. It's just these names, they are, scholars categorize them as mubah names. They're permissible, but again, you should always strive to do what's better. Choose names that are better. Choose names that have righteous meaning attached to them. That's the key, because a righteous name can actually encourage you to become righteous. You want to fulfill the responsibility of that name. So there's even like this sort of psychological effect of what your name is. It reflects your personality and who you are. And the last thing that I want to share with you is name change. So somebody who goes from an Islamic name or a righteous name to a not so Islamic, not so righteous name. What's the ruling on that? Depending on what the not so righteous name is, it could actually be haram. You can be sinful for that. You also have to keep in mind that if you're choosing Arabic names, choose Arabic names that have good meanings. So make sure you make the proper choice. You know what it is that you're choosing. Like, you don't want to call yourself something that in Arabic means something completely haram. And I don't have to give you examples of what this is. You just have to keep that in mind, that if you choose a name, ask a sheikh, ask a scholar that's fluent in the language what this is talking about, so at least you'll get the right guidance, inshallah. So having said that, brothers and sisters, I want to conclude and say to all of you, righteous names are the key, because this is what people will address you, people will know you by, and this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will address you on the Day of Judgment. So keep all of that in mind. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.